Hey, what's up everybody? It's Ryan with WildTech, and we're here in Northeast Florida, and there's no getting around it. It's 98 degrees. It's September the 8th, and we just had Hurricane Dorian roll through, and what it's done is it's pulling a lot of that Caribbean warm tropical air up here, and it's 98 degrees, it's humid, it's burning up hot, but we've got deer season opens in 6 days, but we've got the 10-point Stealth NXT crossbow, brand new, just got it in, and we're gonna do a little unboxing and review for you. I'm really excited about this crossbow. This is 10 Point's sleekest and most accurate crossbow that they've ever come out with. This thing is bad to the bone. It weighs 7.3 pounds, which is a little bit heavy for a crossbow, but when you think about it, you really don't want a super light crossbow, or I don't want a super light bow or crossbow, because the lighter it is, the less forgiving. So, you know, you want a good steady crossbow. This is the first time feeling it. I love the feel of this thing. Awesome handle, it just feels great. I love the camo pattern. This thing is really cool, and it's great for ground blind hunting, hunting in tight, compact areas, you know, getting around, and it's just an awesome feel to it, and I love this thing. So, fresh out of the box, I'm looking at it, it comes with the crossbow, it comes with 3 bolts, and comes with the AccuDraw cocking device, which we're gonna put that together in a bit. It does come with a 10-point scope, and I really like this scope. So looking through the scope, you've got 20 to 100 yards. It tells you to keep your fingers down inside the scope, which is cool. Let's see if you guys can see this. 20 to 100 yards. Depending on what arrow weight you're gonna use and broadhead weight, you know, your total bolt weight in this situation is gonna determine how fast your crossbow is moving. So how fast your arrow is moving. So it is adjustable. So you've got from 275 all the way up to 425 feet per second on this scope. And what else do we got? We've got a quiver and the quiver attachment. So we're gonna go ahead and put this thing together and shoot it a few times and see how it feels. But man, like I said, I already love the feel of this thing. It's got an extra wide finger guard to keep your fingers. I mean, it'd be really hard to put your fingers up there in the way of that string. And obviously if you do put your fingers in the way when that thing's cocked and you do fire it, you're gonna lose fingers. It's gonna do some serious damage. So I love having that protection. That's something I've always worried about with crossbows in the past, but this one, I'm not even gonna have to worry about it. Looks like just kind of a heavy duty nock. I don't know if that's made out of aluminum. Looks like it's an aluminum nock. But they just look heavy duty. Instead of having a plastic nock, it's got that aluminum nock. So just a little bit heavier duty than some of the other bolts that I've used in the past, but we're excited. I mean, we're gonna shoot some bears this year. We've got a piece of property that my brother and my dad are a part of, and they are absolutely overrun with bears. And we'll talk about that in another video. But we're gonna be using that. Hopefully my dad's gonna be using the crossbow to take out some bears, my brother, and I'll be shooting, me and Gloria Ann will be shooting a lot of hogs with this thing. So yeah, we're real excited to get it downrange and get this thing sighted in and ready to go. You want the scope to be positioned so it's the right distance from your eye. Love this scope, man. Those sights are awesome. This is gonna be a lot of fun using this. Actually, in the past, I've kind of been deterred from using crossbows because they're cumbersome. You know, they're not as fun to me as a bow and arrow. But this thing is it's compact, it's slender. I love the scope, absolutely love it. This is gonna be a lot of fun to shoot some stuff with this crossbow. But yeah, basically you just wanna get that in the right position so it's the right distance from your eye, and just tighten up your bolts. I'm gonna tighten these by hand at first, and then I'll go ahead and grab a socket set, and you just wanna you wanna tighten them firm but not over tight. You wanna get them pretty tight because you don't want that scope moving around. We'll go ahead and tighten them by hand, by as tight as I can get them. And then we'll grab a socket set and tighten that up just a little bit more. And I'm gonna make sure everything is good and tight and secure on the crossbow. As far as my mounts, which that is in this bag here. Comes with a little bit of rail lube, which is cool. Comes with everything you need. So there's comes with a little cloth for cleaning off your scope. Your sights there, which is cool. And then I've got a little Allen wrench that it comes with for just making sure everything is tight with your scope mounts, I'm just making sure everything's good and secure. I'm not over tightening this, but I'm just like a light hand tightening. And what I do is I'll tighten one side, I'll go to the opposite, and that's already tight. And I'll start over here, that's pretty tight. And I'll come to the opposite and tighten that down, just good and hand tight. That's all good and secure now. Oh yeah, man, it's just super clear. I love the sight on this thing. If I should shoot that squirrel. So we're just kind of getting everything sighted in. It's still not sighted in perfect, but wanted to do at least one shot and show you kind of how this AccuDraw works and the power of this crossbow. So I like this AccuBow or this AccuDraw better than the previous models, because the previous models you basically had to click a lever, and as you wound, if you let it go and you didn't have it in the right spot, that thing would go flying. The way this is it basically won't let you cock it if it's in that mode. So the only mode that it'll really allow you to cock it in is the mode with the non-reverse. So it won't bust you in the knuckle. So you want to cock that back until your safety clicks from fire to safe. And we're going to take this, actually I'm going to leave that in there, and I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on it. And now it's in the reverse mode, so it will fly backwards a little bit, but I just want to basically ease the tension off that, let that tension go. Then put that back in its place. It's got a sweet little spot to tuck that away, out of the way. And so you don't want to forget to grab the AccuDraw, grab it up and off and over the scope, put it back in place, and it clicks right back in place out of the way. See there how that kind of clicks in place? And the way you want to load this crossbow, be very careful. Don't put fingers anywhere in this string path because it will rip them off. So you want to grab the tip of your bolt, have your odd fletching down. See how there's one white fletching, two yellow fletchings? And with your hand way up in front, that way if this thing fired, nothing would get injured. White fletching down, and go ahead and place that all the way back. And look right here, as that little lever moves forward. That way you know you're engaged. And now we're ready. So I'm going to aim for the middle of that target. I'm going to go ahead and take I'm ready to go from safe to fire. And I'm going to aim for the middle of that Morrell target. I'm just a touch high, but my left and right's looking good. But you can see how fast that bolt was moving. This thing is no joke. This is a bad unit. All right, guys. So we were shooting at another target that we had that was supposedly rated for crossbows, and as you can see, it buried through the entire target, and about that much of the bolt was sticking out of the back side of it, and I destroyed the fletching trying to get it out. But now we're shooting at our Morrell target and it's stopping the bolts like it's supposed to. But this thing is super powerful. But apparently the other target that we were using was not a Morrell, wouldn't stop the power of this crossbow. So that's pretty crazy. That was like the second shot. So make sure whatever targets you're shooting at, they are made for crossbows, rated for crossbows up to 410 feet per second, because this bolt is screaming fast. This will blow through just about anything that you're going to shoot at. Watch how narrow this crossbow gets when it's fully cocked. It's insane. There we are, fully cocked, fully engaged. So now we'll let a little bit of that slack out and tuck the cocker back in there. And I mean, this is just amazing how slender and slim that is. You can see how awesome this would be in a ground blind. Takes up very little space. I mean, you can see it's just about the width of my hand, maybe a little bit more than the width of my hand, the length of my hand wide. And it's just super narrow. And I'm gonna sling one more bolt downrange. I wanna grab the tip of that. Do not ever put your fingers in the path of that string, because it will be devastating. So And keep the camera on me because I want you to see the amount of recoil. Yeah, this crossbow does weigh 7.3 pounds. So even though it is extremely powerful, I think it's 138 pounds of kinetic energy, up to 410 feet per second, depending on the bolt that you're shooting, and broadhead. And here we go. That's a dead animal, and you can see that's super quiet. It's got just a little bit of recoil, but for the weight, not much at all compared to previous crossbows I've used. I'd say less recoil, easier to use. It's just all around a better piece of equipment. You can tell that they spared no expense in making this thing. This is a very solid, very awesome crossbow. I can't wait to get out in the field and use this thing. This is the Stealth NXT. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to subscribe. And you can see us using this crossbow in the field on some animals, hopefully lots of hogs and maybe a few black bears. Black bear season opens up in 2 weeks. Deer season opens up in 6 days. It's about like 98-degree heat index today. As you can see, I'm covered in sweat. But this is just part of being in Florida, hunting in Florida. You got to get used to the heat. You got to get used to the humidity.